Hey guys, I hope you're all doing amazing. So as you can tell by the title of this video, it's why I stopped going to church. And I know that right off the bat, people are gonna be like, oh, she walked away from God. She is lost in her faith. She has lost this, she has lost that. She no longer believes in this. And I'm just gonna first off say, you can choose or take this how you want, but you don't know me and you don't know what I'm dealing with and you don't know what I'm choosing to believe. And I'm going to tell you right now that I did not stop going to church because I didn't believe or I was no longer spiritual. That is so far wrong, and I just want you to know that people can stop going to church and still be believers. Other than that, I'm gonna just talk about my other big reasons why I stopped going. I think one of the biggest reasons why I stopped going to church is I found church was less about learning about God, and it was more about putting fear in people's heads if they did not go to church. What I mean by this is, at the church I was raised in, it was heaven or hell. And with that being said, I was pretty fearful of death because I am scared to go to hell, as everybody probably is. Hell does not sound like a good place. To me, I couldn't deal with that. I don't like being almost forced into believing something. I feel like I can mess up because I'm human and humans are flawed. And it's not going to mean that I'm going to go a place that's going to ruin me for the rest of my life. And I think one thing about being raised within the church is I really felt that. I felt that if I was not a good person and I was not giving money to the church and I was not going on mission trips and I was not just being an outright perfect person, I was never going to make it to heaven. And to me, that was just not what I needed in my life, especially with me not being mentally okay. I didn't need that to add on to my fears and anxiety. It's just not something I need going through life. And I don't want to live a life of pretending to be someone I'm not. So that was one reason why I just was like, I can't do this anymore. I can't be told this every Sunday. I can't. I went to a Christian school and I went to chapel and I did Bible studies. I did catechism. I went to youth group and I even taught Sunday school, and to me that was just too much. Another reason why I stopped was because church is so judgmental. It is full of some of the most judgmental people, and I know that some may say no, but I felt like when you are at church, you can't be yourself. You can't be real. You can't really say your opinions that don't go with the church's values, and I don't think that's right. I think I should be able to state what I believe without the church or someone in the church saying, well, the Bible says this, or in Psalm something it says this. Like, I get it. I know that you believe that, but I'm allowed to have my own beliefs outside of the church. And I feel like going to church every Sunday, I wasn't allowed to do that. And I think that brings into another point of, I personally felt like there was a lot of close-minded people going to the church. Very close-minded, to the point where like the LGBTQ2+ is very real and it's very much within our society, and it's not wrong. And I feel like, especially with the church I went to, it was made to feel wrong. And I didn't like that. I don't agree with that. I think with the church, you should be accepting of everybody. You should love everybody, because if you are teaching God in the church, then you should know plain right out that God will accept everybody regardless of their race, their gender, their sexuality. He's not going to judge you. I felt like in the church, they did not agree. So that was another reason that I really started distancing myself from the church and going to church, was because I didn't agree with a lot of their beliefs and values, and I wasn't going to force myself to believe their beliefs and values just because I went there. And I also felt like with not agreeing with their beliefs and values, I shouldn't be going, you know? Like, I should be going somewhere where I believe the values that are being taught, and it just wasn't in the church denomination that I was going to. And I really didn't see it within other churches. Like, I searched out a few other churches, and I couldn't find a point where I was like, yes, I like this, I agree with this, this is spot on. I never really found that within churches. So I personally did not feel like I could go. I didn't feel connected to God at a church because I didn't feel like I agreed. I didn't feel like I could go without being judged. I didn't feel like I could speak my mind, and I can't stand closed-minded people, and that's what a lot of churches are full of. I think another reason why I really stopped going to church was I'm poor. I'm a university student. I don't have much money, and people started telling me that I needed to start saving money to give to the church every Sunday. For me, money is a personal thing to me, and I shouldn't be expected to give money to the church to be considered a good person. I way rather choose a charity of my choice and give money towards that charity when I am financially stable than putting myself in more financial debt because the church tells me to. To me, that's just who I am, and I'm gonna stand by that. I don't have the money to give money to the church, and I felt again like I was getting judged because I couldn't do that. I think I also just in general had a lot of doubts. I feel like a lot of people take the Bible legitimately, and me, I didn't take it legitimately because I doubted it a lot. I don't think that what is written in the Bible, all of it is expected of us in this day and age. And for me, it was like kind of just as simple as a girlfriend and boyfriend are not allowed to move in together, but they can move in together when they're married. Why is it a sin that I move in with the person I love and I know I want to marry in the future because I want to get to know them better? Like, how is that wrong? I don't get it. Like, to me, it was just something I didn't agree with. It wasn't something that was a huge value to me where I was like, oh, well, I don't want to move in with you because I'm not married. That wasn't important to me in my life. What was important was that I was able to get to the next step with my boyfriend and that we can get to a point where we both agree that we are ready to move in together. And I think that is a choice that I'm allowed to have without the church telling me no or without the church looking down on me. I need to be able to make choices without feeling like I'm going to be judged. However, with that being said, I think not showing up at church brings a lot of judgment. And for me, I was kind of like, that's it. Like, judge me as much as you want. You don't know me. You don't know my life. So judge me if you want. But that's not going to make me want to come back. I've heard a lot about this generation and that the younger generation has been leaving the church like there's no tomorrow. Like, it's rapidly leaving. And I think that's because our generation is, people will say that we're super close-minded, but I think we are the generation that is actually pretty open-minded, and we are here to think for ourselves. And I think every generation is there to think for themselves, but I think when it comes to church, we are questioning the church. The church doesn't like that. We're not getting the right answers. We're gonna look for answers somewhere else. And those answers are gonna lead us, some of us, to not want to continue on going to church. And that is not wrong. We are allowed to search for what we think is right and what we believe is right for us right now and for our life without being judged. I wish that the church really understood that and was accepting of that, and to realize, yes, kids are gonna leave the church so that they can grow and find what's best for them. Because everybody says you need to grow in the church, but no, you need to grow as a person in the way that works for you. If that's in the church, then great. If that's walking away from the church and just finding yourself spiritually, then that's great. If that means you become an atheist, that is great. Like, whatever works for you is fine, and nobody can judge you for that. Another reason that really had me think about considering leaving the church and like supported my decision to leave the church was, it was not a community that I really felt like I was a part of. It wasn't a community that I actually wanted to be a part of. I didn't want to be a part of a community that was super judgmental. I didn't want to be a part of a community that really couldn't really think for themselves. I didn't want to be part of a community where you couldn't speak up about something that maybe the church didn't agree with without being like put down. I didn't want to be a part of that, and to me that's not a life I wanted to live, especially coming from the Christian school and growing up in the Christian school, going from kindergarten to grade 12 and then going to youth group, going to catechism, doing Sunday school, going to church every Sunday. It was just a lot for me, and I was so like sure that this was right until I went to university, and I was like, wow, there is so much more to this world. There is so many other religions. There are not even religions, but there are so many other theories in life that I was never taught because I was so intertwined and I guess not forced but expected to stay within the Christian church. And some of the theories that I was taught going to university were things I had never heard of, and people, like, I would ask people questions and they would look at me like I'm crazy. Like, And I would be like, oh, well, I was raised in the Christian religion. I went to a Christian school. And people would be like, oh, okay, that makes sense. Like, that is wrong. That is wrong. Like, at 21, I should not be so close-minded and know so little about this world just because I was raised to believe only a certain amount of things. And that really helped me decide that, like, I need to walk away and go figure out my own path and go figure out my own life. So I want to be clear. I am very spiritual, and I think spirituality is like being able to still believe without feeling like you have to be going to a church or going to a mosque or going to any religious practice. Like, I can find God and I can find whatever makes me feel good and whatever seems right for my life by sitting at my house and honestly just being happy and being at peace. I also find that people can experience sermons, if that's what they want, online. Like, they don't have to go to a building, and you shouldn't be judged for that. Like, going out and just going for a walk can really put you in your spiritual spot. And I feel like being judged for that is so wrong. I think judgment in general coming from the church is just like so hypocritical, and I think it's dumb personally. I think for people who are really talking about how they don't judge people, and for people who are saying that like they love everybody, I find that especially within the Christian church, they are very judgmental and they don't live what they preach. I think, I'm not gonna lie, I learned some very good values growing up in a church. I got to do fun things. Like, I went on mission trips, and that was one of my best memories as a child. But I don't think I had to do that to prove myself to anyone. Like, I think you can still go on serve trips without going with a church. You can go be a good person and want to help people without going to church. And I find, especially like I'm in social work, you can't be super close-minded. And I find with being a student in social work, I'm really learning that like what I learned in the church is something that I cannot take a lot of what I learned into my workplace. Like, I have to be so open to everything, and I have to be willing to accept everyone. And I think the church, they say that they are, but then when it comes to it, they aren't. And I think that really bothers me. That really hurts me. And to me, that's not great. And I just think that people have the right to choose their path in life. And I think that people have the right to really go searching for themselves, to really just find out who they are with support from people who love them without being judged. Like, I got told when I stopped going to church, I was told by family and friends, I am so disappointed in you. That hurt so much, because I am trying to grow as an adult, and I am trying to grow into something that I can really be proud of myself, and I am trying to make my own path and make my own goals and live my own life. And the church wasn't in my path, and it wasn't what I thought was right for me. And so because of that, you are disappointed in me. Like, that is painful, especially because I respect you and your religion. And I'm not here telling you that I'm disappointed in you for choosing to go to church. And I'm not telling you that I'm disappointed in you for wanting to do certain things. But you are disappointed in me just because we don't see eye to eye and we don't agree. And to me, that is not appropriate. And to me, that is almost like just shows why I don't want to go to church. I don't want to make people feel that way. When I have kids, if they don't agree with all of my values and stuff, I don't want to feel disappointed in them. I want to be proud of them for finding what works for them and what makes them happy. And I feel like I couldn't do that around my family and friends. And so I just think that people deserve happiness, and I think everybody deserves to be loved, and everybody deserves to go their own way, and everybody deserves to just grow up. And whether that means growing with your faith in the church or growing with your faith outside of the church, it doesn't make you a bad person, and it doesn't make you any less. Like, you are human and you get to make your own choices, and for someone to be disappointed in you, it's just wrong. And I just want you to know, if you are struggling with your faith, or you're struggling with church, or just in a middle ground right now, you are so loved, and you are not in any wrong for questioning your belief. You are not wrong for wanting to soul search to try to find what works for you. You are special, you are loved, and you can't be made to feel guilty or judged. You have a right to do what you are doing, and don't let anybody tell you any different. There are so many people who are in your position or who have been in your position, and we have got through it. We have been able to find what's best for us. And if people are going to be disappointed in you, and if people are going to judge you, let them judge, let them be disappointed. It's not their life, it's not their choice. Ultimately, in the end, it's your happiness. It's about what makes you feel best, and you can't let anyone tell you different. So I hope you guys all have a great day. Thanks for listening. Bye.